G'day viewers, good morning. That was a little bit exciting. Apart from dealing with the cleanup from a rather large brawl that happened outside my place last night, my little sound puck didn't want to play this morning, which meant I had no headphones and no sound, but that's okay. All right then, so this morning we're going to have a look at rapid transit. We're only going to spend a little bit of time in rapid transit today because, disappointingly, only one of the combinations of locos and cab cars became enabled for Raildriver, and that's this one. Oops, might help add the focus right. The DB766.2 cab car. So up on the other end of this train is another loco that sadly we won't go and visit because it's not enabled for Raildriver. So we'll spend a little bit of time over here, show you the 766, we'll show you the lack of its sound. Good morning, Michael. And then we'll pop over to Long Island Railroad where we'll have a quick look at the M3 and then we'll spend a longer time in the M7. The M3 has, I think, apart from getting Raildriver support, which is great, doesn't seem to have changed very much. So I won't spend a lot of time with that. We know what that's like. But I will go over to the M7 because that has changed a little bit. A few people are complaining about it. I don't mind it so much, to be honest. Now, one thing that they have broken in the M3, the ATC has become strange. So it's playable, but you'll spend a lot of time at 15 mile an hour or less. It doesn't seem to happen as much with the M7. But anyway, let's pop into the cab of this one and we can start setting up and getting ready to go. Just find my little cheat sheet, which is here somewhere, buried under the stream. There it is. Because it looks like this one's already on. It's got voltage. We want some headlights. What else do we need to turn on in here? Why not? Let's be game. Let's turn on PZB. Should turn on CIFA while we're here too. Where's CIFA? There it is. Later this evening, I'm going to do a stream with PZB, AFB, LZB and CIFA all turned on, not in this, but in one of the ICE. So if you're interested in that one, in about 12 hours time, I'll be doing that. All right, let's just finish setting, oops, not that one. Coach lights, well, they might want some lights. And let's go with bright headlights. Let's annoy everybody. Seems fair. And reverse it to neutral. Technically, we have to wait for that red needle to move, but it's already charged, so we won't have to. I think the pantograph's actually up, but let's just go through the motions anyway. So put the pantograph up, close the main fuse, set and hold this at start for 5 seconds. Meanwhile, the game's still insisting on me unlocking the door, but until I do this last step, yeah, can't. Oops, not that one. That arrow on the Raildriver. Cool. So the control wise for the 762, their PZB buttons down here are not the standard places for the other German locos. They've always been here. So yay, consistency. Still a bit crappy. We've got the doors open. We're supposed to lock the doors now. Better finish setting up then so we can move, huh? So let's get the reverser into forward. Looks like these brakes are released already. That one's released. The last thing to do is that one, which I found sometimes matters and sometimes does not. All right, let's get out of here. So we get power. Oh, look at that. It actually works. It's almost as though I know what I'm doing. But that's because I made cheat sheets. They'll come in handy later too. I'll just scroll that so it's ready for when we jump into the M3 later. Okay, so we're getting underway. Now, the first thing you notice, let me just shut up for a moment. that's right. There's no sound. So we've got the sound of an air conditioner. There's no track sounds. There's no bogie sounds. There's nothing from the people behind us through that not very well closed door. There's Sifa. Sifa's noisy. And we're still in monitoring on PZB, which is why I'm keeping my speed down. You can see here there's the flashing 8.5, and down on the HUD, down on the right-hand corner there, you can see the 70-85 alternating. That means I have to stay below 45 kilometers an hour, so I'm just approaching that now. So, in fact, there we go. Tripped by PZB, but that's okay. Let that reset itself. I wasn't quite paying enough attention. I let that get up to just hit 45 kilometers an hour. That's all right. We had Sifa triggering at the same time then as well. So we have brake pressure going up at the moment, which is unexpected. Brake cylinder, okay, brake pressure in the main pipe's going up. Brake cylinder coming down. All good. We'll be able to drive in a moment. Yep, off we go. Okay. There we go. First trip by PZB. Now that was because while I was explaining monitoring, I wasn't paying anywhere near enough attention to my speed, and we went into the significant down gradient, which, ironically for Dovetail, is actually the right way round for a change. And it says we're going downhill. How about that? It's kind of unusual that they get that right. Let me just flip back to the studio. All right, so we're starting to go uphill now, so I can put some power on. We've also come out of monitoring. You can see that 85 has stopped flashing down here, and we don't have the alternating 75, 85 down the other side. So I can now go up to track speed, which is 80 kilometers an hour, except that I have no power. Why do I have no power? There we go. Now that last one just there, that feels like a bug because I had power for a little while and then suddenly I didn't have power. There's been a few issues with this release. Just a few. Is it awful? No, because it's a change to really old content. We do have the new, cooler skybox with the proper clouds. They do look a bit better. I did notice on the forums that someone has released a mod that actually makes the clouds quite cool. Now, just to prove this thing does make noise, if we go outside... Oops, let's do Sifa first. It's quite noisy out here. And there is bogey sounds, and all the right kinds of sounds. So, I'd expect to hear that in here as well. At least a bit muted. So the horn sounds okay. Let's try and open the windows. It gets a little bit noisier with the windows open. Sifa. Now let's see how well this thing stops. And the answer is actually pretty well. And opening doors. Let's pop outside and have a look at all of the people getting in and out, because that's another part of the update. They actually do get in and out now. They weren't on, well, at least I don't think they were on Rapid Transit before. I don't have an unupdated version to really prove that, but I don't think they were. Let's do a nice little platform departure, as though we're one of them. So the way this is set up, it's almost like a light rail rather than a heavy rail setup with the lack of fences and things. All right, let's lock the doors. Once the doors are shut and green. There we go. So there's definitely some nice bogey sounds out here. And why don't you have Raildriver? But we'll do one more station stop in here and then we'll jump over to the M3 on Long Island. You're not hearing any game sounds, Michael? Ooh. That's a bit of a... Not hearing it. You're probably right. I wonder why that is. Let me just have a look at the properties there. Let's try that. There we go. That looks like game sounds now. Good. Oh, my apologies for that. Let me shut up again and you can hear the lack of sound from the 762. And if I shut the windows, it gets even less sound. Okay, are you hearing game sounds now? Okay, it's getting better, good. I can definitely hear them or see them on the VU meters. Let's just leave that to its stopping, and you said the desktop sounds are cranked all the way up, but let me just go into Windows sound. You guys don't want to look at that. And I can bring it up a bit more. Hopefully that will help. Hopefully the sound's a bit better now, a bit better balance between me and the game. Not that there's much to listen to. But anyway, that's it for this particular one. That was a lovely stop, wasn't it? I got most of the doors into the platform. All good. So the updates to Rapid Transit, not that amazing because we have got... Let me just pop back to the main menu. In Rapid Transit, that's not the primary loco or cab car. So in this beastie, I think we did get another timetable by the looks of it. But so that's the one we were just driving. We've got the silver Talent2. Why didn't they enable that for Raildriver? It's a bit sad. And the 143, they haven't enabled that for Raildriver either. So that was the main things I was looking forward to with this particular release, was those. So anyway, let's jump out of Rapid Transit and let's head over to Long Island Railroad, which is another one way down the bottom of the list. I have way too many DLCs. And we're going to start with the M3. So let's have a little bit of cloud, because we have got the new pretty clouds. And I'm not going to make it wet, even though I like driving in the wet, because the windscreen wiper is just annoying. So, yeah, let's go Ronkonkoma to New York Penn. Now, we're only going to drive a couple of stations of this just while you can hear it and see it, because I find driving in the M3 is not that nice, to be honest, because it's got its ATC issues. So let me just get my sheet back up again so I set this thing up properly. There are Raildriver buttons for most of these things. So bring the reverser forward. The brake, which is probably on emergency at the moment, needs to go to max brake. Of course, that's... Oh yes, it's this one, isn't it? Alright. Okay, let's push that to max brake. The Raildriver controls still don't sync and charge. Come on, I want to press the button. There we go. The Raildriver still doesn't, or the Raildriver controls in game still don't sync with where the levers are actually at when you come into the game. So I've just charged up the brakes. You can see up there we've got, what, 140 odd pounds of air now. So we can do the rest of the setup. And we want to turn our headlights on. These kind of work. So that's a start. It's good. We probably can unlock the doors now. Platform's on our left. And we want to turn on our marker lights, which are up here somewhere. There they are. And leave that alone. What else do we need to do in this thing? Oh yeah, we should turn on the ATC and the alerter. There's a panel around here somewhere. Actually, no, in the M3 there's not. It's in the other end. So we will do it this way. Change sheets. Turning on warning devices and a signaling system. Or not. So it's not believing in the buttons. That's interesting. Have we got any other ATC controls in here? I want to turn it on. I want to show you how awful it is. Ah, fuses. Alright, to stand up for these. Door is on. Okay, ATC on. Now, interestingly, American breakers normally go the other way around, but that's okay. Dovetail's English. They don't know these things. Alright, let's shut the doors. So the ATC is running now. I've got a little light on here that we can see. Now, hopefully the game sounds okay now. We shall see. Brake pressure's coming off, so we're probably going to move. Yes! Alright, so we're going to drive a little bit of the M3. Now, the first thing, horn with the window shut. And then, horn with the window open. Yay! It's finally louder when the window's open and not the other way around. So that's a cool thing. So I just had to acknowledge the alerter there. That's what that buzzer was. Or bell, or whatever. And you found the issue, yeah, the not believing, whoops, we're going a little bit quick. That's going to give, whoops, no, we got away with it. I didn't get given a penalty break. Michael says he found that the same issue with the Raildriver and the Hamburg route. Yes, it doesn't believe where the levers are up to. I kind of hope they fix that. I'm actually just going to close this window. Otherwise, I'll start shouting at you. In fact, I'll take one cup off my headphones and that should stop me shouting at you at least. So you've probably seen people on the forums are saying that the M3 is completely undrivable, but here we are. Seem to be driving it. Seems to be working to me. But maybe that's because I'm using Raildriver. But I've tried with keyboard, it works with keyboard as well. They still haven't fixed the signalling issue where they show up first as yellow and then they become green. Would be nice if they addressed that. So we'll take this down to Westbury Station and then we will flip over to run a scenario using the M7. And hopefully I can remember which one it was. And I'll spend the rest of this stream in the M7. Start slowing down because we have got a yellow signal coming up, and if I'm not going a lot slower, ATC is going to punish me. theory, that should be enough. And you notice with the red signal coming up, ATC's gone down to 15 mile an hour, but you don't actually have to do it because it knows you're stopping. It goes into ATC override. It's quite happy. If you try and move it faster than 15, if I accelerate now and go over 15, it will stop me. But I kind of think that's actually probably what it's meant to do if you were powering up towards a red signal, surely. So we'll jump out here and we'll have a look at the passenger information screens as well. There's lots of chat about those too. There's lots more people now. Yep, I thought we had a jumper for a moment there. Okay. Let's get the doors open and we will jump out and go have a look on the platform. It's interesting how bright the lights are there, isn't it? So coming out here, there are now lots of people. So I've got my people boosted up anyway in my game.ini settings, but now there's loads of people. So it's the New York Penn service, and I suppose we were kind of on time. Not anymore. So they are working. People say they're not the right ones, but, you know, they're kind of functional. They do the job. I don't mind it. Oop, sorry, let's walk straight into someone's head. So I think they're kind of useful. Now, the ones that aren't here, maybe these carriages don't have them. The M7 carriages have got a built-in display. That doesn't work. But to be honest, that doesn't worry me that much. There's a lot of people saying that that ruins the immersion for them. Fair enough. I guess it's a fairly personal thing. I don't worry about it that much. Now, let's just flip out and we'll go and start our scenario. And hopefully I'll remember the right one. But so, passenger information screens, bit of a personal deal. Some people think they're really, really important. I'm not so sure. I mean, for me, they're not. Which one was it? That one? No. 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 That was the one with all the shunting. There it is. That's the one we want. Because this one just gives us a bit more fun. Do have to kind of do as you're told in this scenario, or it doesn't go that well. But I guess that's most of them. Oh, this is another M3. That's not what I wanted. I picked the wrong one. What a dummy. All right. Let's try and get this right. So in my stream description, I should actually have the scenario I was going to run. No, I don't. Oh, well. That's okay. Let's just go and pick one with the M7. It's actually got the M7 in it. Doesn't really matter which one we do, I guess. So that's taking it down to the yard. Actually, no, we might even do that one. That'll work. Yeah, Michael says it's... excuse me. I shall drink the tea instead of breathing it. Michael says that it's funny how people can nitpick over the smallest things. And people do get quite excited about things that I guess are important to them, but not so important to other people. So this here is the West Side Yard. It's also known as Hudson Yards, interestingly enough. I don't know why they don't call it in the game. And this is wrong. this bit of it, because that's not there. The old High Line is up there, but it's not that high. And you can actually see into this yard from a tourism perspective if you go to New York by walking on the High Line. I have to try and get into the right train this time. It's kind of easy to get it wrong with this one. In fact, I'm just going to turn on the objective markers to help me make sure that I get into the right one. Because it'll quite happily let you drive off with the wrong one. In this scenario, it doesn't seem to bother it at all. You just can't finish. So is it this one, or is it this one over here? I think it's this one. You can open these again, which I like, because you can get out the front. Alright then, let's just get my little cheat sheet back up in case there's anything that the stream doesn't tell me to do. So we're going to activate the master key, we're going to do what we're told. Any other setup I want to do, I'll do afterwards. So we want to set the reverser. To what though? I assume forward. And the headlights. Headlights, headlights, headlights. Actually, I know what it wants me to do with the master controller. It wants me to bring it back and put it into max brake. And then we'll set the headlights, which is up here somewhere. Marker lights. Cab lights, no. Wipers, no. Ah, there they are. Okay. So we've done all those things, but we haven't done this yet. So we're now charging our brake. So activate the master key, set the reverser, which I've done. Or maybe it wants to go into neutral. Alright, so it wasn't really telling me what it wanted me to actually do there. But let's now just turn on some stuff. Let's turn on ATC. Can't turn on that one. Let's turn on the alerter and all the other things you can't really touch. So the switches, they haven't changed anything much there. There's still the old textures that aren't very switch-like. That's okay. Let's jump back in the seat. And we can now go into forwards. Yeah, we don't have control. Why not? Done everything it wants as far as I know. Versus in forwards. Wonder if that's because that door's open. No? Alright, let me just go through my checklist. Master key, we've done the reverser, done the brake, we've charged up the brakes. We have turned on the headlights, we've turned on the marker lights, we've turned on the alerter and the ATC. Let's just try and acknowledge the ATC and see if that makes any difference. I can hear doors trying to close. Let's just go have a look. There's a door open. Okay. Even though I've said close the doors, there is a door open. Let's just go and manually... No, not that one. Let's just manually go and close this door, because maybe I confused it. It'd be funny if it starts driving while I'm here, wouldn't it? I should say thank you to all of the feedback from Sean as well. That was it. Wasn't it interesting that it wasn't capable of closing that door by itself? Oh well, problem solving. All good. So I've got to watch the speed down here. This is a boring bit of this run, I'm afraid. There's not much about that. You're driving underground in the dark. Built just above this thing is the large sculptural thing that kind of looks like a wasp nest. The controller's very sensitive in where it wants the 0 point to be. The Raildriver, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a detent just here. Ah! Too many buttons. Ooh, and going very quick. Very, very quick. I'm surprised ATC didn't spank me. Why is it speeding up when it's on flat ground? Interesting questions. So there certainly are still some issues with this route. And yeah, we're speeding up again even though we're on flat ground. And going through points and around little corners and all sorts of things. Just shouldn't happen. But yes, there's some issues with the route. Were they here before? Yes, for the most part. They didn't introduce much that was new. The only real new one that I think that was a bit of a mistake was that trains were arriving into two platforms at the same time because a crossover switch in between the platforms was set. So they'd arrive into the platform they were supposed to be on, and then they would, halfway down the platform, go into the other platform. It's kind of amusing. I never actually had it happen to me, but I certainly saw plenty of screenshots. Now, that in theory has been fixed with another update. So we've completed our objective of arriving in this station, but it's only a go via. We're not actually going to stop and pick people up. Now, I've ridden this train in real life from here out to Jamaica, just because I could. It's just something I felt like doing. I've ridden the path, I've ridden the LIRR, I've ridden quite a few of the subway routes, probably about half of them, when I've been there on holidays, because what does a train nut do when they go overseas? They go ride trains, of course. Hello, Roy. Now, this is something that I think is incorrect where we are at the moment. The speed limit is still 15 mile an hour here. I don't believe so, because when I rode this train, they go through this tunnel like a rocket. So I don't think it's meant to be 15. Oh, there we go. Now we're up to 60. Rocket time. Oops. I'm experimenting with keeping the Raildriver labels here. It's not completely satisfactory. At least they got the lighting right in this tunnel. It is lit up. I think that's going to be stable. Maybe not. It's very hard to get notch 2 on the brakes. You get 1 or 3. Them's your choices, but that's okay. So basically we take this unit out to Jamaica and take it up. Yeah, Michael, I understand that the back end was probably still in the station area, but in riding this thing, they just go flat out, straight out of the station. They definitely don't go at 15 mile an hour. They are a surprisingly long train, though. I'd show you, but we're in a tunnel. We'll see how long this one is, because we're going to take it apart as part of this scenario. So there's a little bit of track noise in this. Not a heap. Gets better if you open a window. But in a subway tunnel, 55 mile an hour, it'd be a lot louder, guys. A lot. Try the horn. So horn quiet with the window closed. A little bit louder with it open. Have they done it with the door, though? So I've got the alert. Oh no, I can still do it. So horn with the door shut. Yeah, I think they got that right. That was something that always vaguely amused me. We're coming up into the dawn light. This looks kind of nice. Last time I drove this, there was a fairly unexpected ATC indication along here somewhere that tripped me up last time. Oops, just get that speed down just a touch. The hill will do that for me. There it is. Oops, I just accidentally went into emergency because there's no detent. That's okay. I'm not sure if you can get out of it or not, if you have to stop completely or not. No, looks like you do have to stop completely. That's alright. No power. Let's go into brakes and then come back into power. No. Let's try resetting things. Power off. Power back on again. Alright, let's go up to max brake. Oh, I know what it is. Ah, just a duffer. I haven't recharged this. So here's me thinking I've encountered a new bug, but no, I'm just a duffer. It's okay. Better not let me on any real trains. Oh, wait. I'm doing that next weekend. It's one of my play days on the railway next weekend, on Saturday. And on Sunday, we'll be streaming Microsoft Train Simulator, the original. Well, it's actually not quite the original because I've updated it to the 2004 version. It took me quite a while to get something set up to actually be able to run it. So I've ended up building an old laptop of mine with an old release of Windows 7 that I had. And I'll be using that. So I can't stream from that laptop because its graphics card's not good enough for OBS. Oops. Pay attention to the speed limits. See, a lot of people say that that's not drivable when that happens, but the reality is as long as you put enough brake on, that this little ATC forestall light comes on up here, it doesn't stop you. And I didn't do that the first time. I wasn't paying enough attention. I was too busy talking. and it stopped me. But this time, see, it works fine. So it is quite playable. You just have to do what it wants. Let's get rid of the objective marker. It's a bit ugly. But next week, as I was saying, I'll be driving MSTS. I will be streaming that over to this computer. And I've got a little video device that will let me take a video feed and put it in the stream for you. It'll be much lower resolution though. I've got a yellow signal. And the next one is green, so we can just keep on cruising. May even be game to speed up a little. So the other thing people have been saying a lot is that the railway's dead. Well, there's a train right there. It seems to be moving. And that's the second one we've seen. Yeah, granted, there's not that many, but it is 4:36 in the morning, so I know they run services 24 hours a day, but not that many at night. HUD was a little bit behind the ATC there. They still don't seem to agree between the ATC and the HUD, but that's okay. I drive to the ATC. Probably don't even need the HUD on this one, really. Because the ATC doesn't punish you for HUD-only speed limits. It doesn't care. So they have adapted the texture of the cars. They're more like the polished stainless steel that they really are. There's not a mirror reflection on them anymore, but you still get plenty of reflection from the sun. So I think they look quite nice. Just start braking for that yellow signal. And they've done some other things. These fans work now. I don't think they used to. So that's not a yellow signal. I'm looking up here at the bridge. That's a green signal. It might have been yellow. So I don't mind the way they look now. Actually, they're pretty good. I think they pick up the light quite nicely. Before they did kind of have a bit of a mirror finish on them. You could see a blurry version of your face in them if you standed next to them on the platform, but that's not realistic. I think now they're realistic. So I quite like what they've done. The M3 still look like they're made of plastic though. .5 miles till we slow down. You don't have any gauge lights. There is a Raildriver button for that too, but I'm not that fussed. The important Raildriver controls are these ones. I wish the alerter button worked properly. It does work, so if I zoom in on that, you'll see it work. 1, 2 seconds. So if you're just near the end of the alerters yelling at you or ATC yelling at you and you rely on that, you're going to be a bit out of luck. It really needs to be quicker. Because interestingly, press the same button on the keyboard straight away. Why isn't it like that from the Raildriver? Anyway, we're getting near to where we have to start slowing down. So I'll just hit a minimum brake. Being one of the older routes, there's not a tremendous amount of detail to be seen. So we really do have a yellow signal this time, and we're going to diverge. Cruising into Jamaica, mon. That's a bit offensive, wasn't it? Now, in this case, the 15-mile-an-hour limit on the approach to Jamaica is realistic because it's going to make me stop. But I don't remember him doing it when I rode it for real. Oops, too much. I only want a tiny bit. The lever is too sensitive. It would be nice if they brought that down. It would also be nice if they did a bit of hysteresis on the controls so that quick movements don't really do anything. That was ATC beeping at me then, but I'm already below the 40 that it wants me to do. Down on the HUD, Roy, this little marker here shows you. This route does not have speed boards. Oops, I went into emergency again. Did I get away with it? Oh, maybe. Nah, I pushed it too far because there's no detent on this one. Now, interestingly, the game thinks that I'm actually in the right spot, but I'm not, so I'm just going to go up to max brake. I really wish they had used this lever, not the throttle lever, for the combined control, because this one has a detent at the top that stops you going into emergency, unless you push harder. So even though I've been told to stop, I'm actually going to move and just get closer up to the end of this road. Hopefully I won't break the scenario. Because at the moment, if we have a look behind us, we'll be blocking all these switches. That wouldn't make me very popular. Now that sound is accurate. These trains are awful. High-pitched, rattly pieces of crap. This is a good enough spot to stop. So we're going to wait for another train to come off the line. I think we can just see it up there somewhere. There's that one, but there's another one coming around the corner up there. You can see it glistening in the sun. So that reflection's a bit bright compared to the light that's around here on the buildings. And interestingly, on that side, it's reflecting on this side. And on that train, it's reflecting on that side. The sun is definitely over this side, though. There's lots of trains up there, actually. Now, we have a yellow. So we can move. So we'll only be going a short way up the track, and then we shall be doing some shunting. So we'll be crossing most of these tracks fairly shortly and heading off down to the right-hand side. ATC re-warning me about a 15 mile an hour limit that I was already in. So the HUD's telling me I can do 30 something, and the ATC's telling me I can do 15, so I will obey the ATC, because the ATC will stop me, the HUD won't. And this switch is set to go over to the right again. $15 mile an hour through here actually is realistic for shunting, because the kind of switches you find on the LIRR and the New York subway for that matter, they're about as tight as the ones you find on model railways. The ATC is now telling me I can go 60, but that's... I reckon they'll tell me to slow down soon. But let's see. We've got 1.5 miles, but I think we'll go through another diverging signal. Would be my bet at some point. These ones aren't. So we'll speed up a little, but not a lot. So we're diverging again. So we've got points set here to go off to the right, and then we've got another diverging signal on there, so we'll be going off to the right again. So that previous signal should have been a diverge, and it wasn't. That's interesting. Coming into the yard itself now. Yeah, the fans have stopped. There they go. They're Schrodinger's fans. When they think you're not watching, they don't run. I guess that makes sense really, because why waste CPU cycles on something that you're not looking at? Shiny. I do like the wheels on the LIRR. They're the wheels that look like they're actually going around. A lot of the wheels in TSW2 don't, because the Unreal Engine doesn't like things that go around. These and the British Class 8. Probably the best wheels. Welcome to the dark side. Cruise, cruise, cruise. too far. That structure we're passing under with the other tracks is slated for replacement. It's part of the rebuilding program. It's amazing how much difference the change in president makes for that. Biden likes trains, so he's building train stuff. It's a bit similar to Melbourne, where one of the viewers, Roy, and I live. We're going through a thing called the Big Build, which is essentially building a whole lot of stuff that we should have built 25 years ago. New freeway and connectors, new tunnels, new train lines, new subway system. But for us, it's all about economic stimulus to try and get things moving again. So we're coming into Hillside Yard now. We'll be splitting this train up. Just jump back in the cab. Now, just for while we're shunting, can't reach it from that side. Can I reach it from this side? Yes. I'm actually going to turn off the alerter, which I would think would actually be realistic anyway, because it gets really annoying when you're shunting, especially if you want to watch from the outside. Keep getting this yard's uphill. It's funny how the Unreal Collision system does that to you. Yes, rail crossing removals. Very, very true, Roy. That's something American could do with, getting rid of all their rail crossings. We get upset with 2 fatalities a year. There's about 1,500 a year in America. And an endless source of YouTube videos of trains hitting cars and trains hitting trucks and trains hitting all sorts of things. I think they did a nice job with the flange noises, the wheel flange noises coming into the yard back there. It'd be nice if you could hear those in the train though, because you would be able to. Is that going to be enough? Excuse me. Nope. Got to get closer. It's a finicky scenario. 3, 2. God, how long could it take to go? Whoops, I've gone past it. That never went to 0. Okay. Now, this part of the scenario, you really got to do what you're told. So I'm just going to sit here. I know what it wants me to do, but I'm not going to... Alright, good. Once it tells you you can do things, so I just walk through a door then? How clever was that? The sad thing is it shuts them. Look. So you have to open them again on the way back. It's kind of annoying. At least there's no people in it now. That's something they fixed, actually. This scenario used to have people sitting in the carriages. Alright, so we're going to go into this cab here. And we're going to... Well, I'm in here now. Okay. I just wanted me to sit down. That wasn't clear. Insert the uncoupling key, which is this thing. Alright, now we go back where we came from. We're going to walk through the door again. Now, if you play this scenario, you must do exactly as it tells you when it tells you. Otherwise, it thinks you're trying to take over the service from another cab, and it gets upset. And then it doesn't work anymore. Here we are, back in our cab. Alright, so you need to go to transfer track 4. You need to set your own junctions. Let's have a look at the map. So we are there. We're going to go up there. Alright, so let's work our way towards that point. We want to be on this track here. So we need to set that one. And that one is okay. That one is okay. That one is not okay. That one is okay. Alright, so we can now move forwards and we'll get up to that point. Now what we should see, if I go to the outside, yeah, we're leaving some of our train behind. Where is it? There it is. And I don't really care that the yard speed limit's 10. I'm just going to obey ATC, which is 15. I think I must have a viewer with awful internet because I keep seeing the stream count go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I have seen someone complain that these stopping markers, the coloured patches on the ground, are the wrong way around, but they're actually not. I don't think, because you stop in the green one, not the red one. Which is kind of obtuse, I suppose. Lovely. Now, did we just miss a train going past? We did. Okay, now we've got to work out where we're going to go now. So we're going down here somewhere. So I want to go down here. It's next to where we were. So those were on our train. So that junction's fine. We'll just follow it back along the track. That one needs to change. That one's not ours. This one needs to change. And that one should be fine. That should be fine. They all are. That signal faces the other way, I think, from memory. Let's just have a quick look at the back of the train and just make sure it faces the other way. It does. So that's that signal just there. So it's facing away from us. We might even drive from up here, I think. So into verse. That looked like an awkward turn on the school bus. It's doing a drifter. There's no markers on the ground for this one. So I've just turned on the objective marker so I can see where it wants me to stop. And just out of interest, this number up here actually isn't quite right because that's assuming you're stopping your cab there, but you're not. You're stopping that one there. Oops, went into emergency. It's not forcing a penalty stop though. This is good. A little bit further. That should do it, I think. Yep. Now back into my cab to wait. We've been told. Hey, it didn't let me walk through it that time. That's not fair. Alright, let's do it properly. I suppose it is fair, isn't it? Now into this cab here. I could walk through that door. Alright, jump in the seat. Uncouple this one. And back where we were. Is it going to tell me? No, it's not. Yay, consistency. But I'm pretty sure we do go back here because we haven't changed cabs. which is a little bit of an involved procedure. All right, now let's see where we're going. So we're going to drop off. They're going to stay there, and we're just taking these ones, I think. And they have to go down here in front of the building. So at this point, this is where the building is. So let's have a look at all of these. That one's okay. That one's not. That one's okay because it's branching off around here. So that's a double slip switch. We'll have a look at that when we get there because it's actually quite a nice piece of track. That one's alright. That one's fine. That one's not. We need to switch that. We need to switch that. And, ooh, I hope we're not too close to that. No, we can switch it. And that'll bring us into here, and then we'll go back down there. Okay. Back into the cab. Ooh, I didn't change direction, did I? Versa forward, and away we go. Almost messed that up. Should do. It's going to stop. We'll leave it to its own devices. Where are we? So there they are there. And I'm going to switch this one and we'll just double check. All looks good. Okay. Back into reverse. I'm not too sure about the realism with this because I don't think this would be... If you were going to drive from this cab, it wouldn't be a single person thing. There'd be a shunter. Someone who was helping you out. So we can replicate that by driving from outside. And if it was really a single person thing, I would expect they'd change cabs so they could see where they were going. I've tried doing that in the scenario and it cracks the sads at you. Yeah. Interestingly, these cars, notice the difference? The windows are black. Can't see through them. Whereas the ones we brought here, you can see through the windows. These are... The ones with black windows are just textures. They're painted there to make it look busy. And I wish they did that more, because there's so many rail yards you drive past that are just empty in all the routes. It would be absolutely lovely to have texture trains just sitting there. And whenever it comes up, Matt from Dovetail usually says things like, oh, well, then we could never use that siding for a real train. It's like, you probably never will anyway, so what's the big deal? I just want to stop. Hopefully that won't meet the objective. No, good. Because I want to jump out for a tick. And pop back up here. Oh, maybe not. I thought there was a double slip in here somewhere, but maybe there's not. No, I'm not right. There is not a double slip. Oh well. Teleport time. wanted to show you a double slip and just see if there is one in sight anywhere. Because I know they've got some on the LIRR, but they're really quite complex and impressive pieces of trackage, but there's none in this yard. Oh well, can't show you that then. Future stream, I'll find one and I'll show it to you because they're cool. I know, I get excited about the weirdest things. Oh, did I go into emergency before? Must have. Up to max brake. Jump back in here and push the button. I must have put it in emergency again. If they persist in using this lever and don't let us program them, I might actually stick something on my Raildriver to make that harder to happen. It would be annoying when you're driving other locos, where that would be the dynamic brake or the throttle, but that's okay. Still not really letting me power, is it? But that's okay. We're getting there. Oh, we'll just let it roll. We're going to get there. Eventually. I think then we're falling a victim of what I was talking about before, that you have to do what you're told in this scenario, and I just didn't, and I'm now paying the penalty for it. But that's okay. Gravity is going to help us finish the scenario. Cool. All right. Back in the cab and shut him all down. So, if I remember rightly, let's turn off. Oh, it's going to tell me anyway. Turn our marker lights off. It's not telling us everything though. Let's come back around here. I'm going to leave those on because I don't think in reality they would turn them off. So we need to go into emergency on the controller. Dump out air. Then we need to go to key out. And then we need to actually... See, you don't get to take the key out in this one. Alright. Now I can get out the big door. Can I close it? Yep. Where's the third rail? Huh. Only up there. Oh, that's why it wouldn't give me power. Okay. So this, if you're wondering... can I get down low enough to see it? Kinda. There it is. That's the third rail under there. This is just an insulating shelf in case someone stands on it. And you can see it runs fairly continuously down this side of the track. And they have shoes that contact the third rail. And it's running down this side of the track, but there's a gap here. That's why it wouldn't let me have any power. So it wasn't the scenario at all. So now that this ends on the third rail, I would bet that I would be able to power again. Let's see if we can see the shoes. So that is actually a shoe there, but it's not on the third rail. Yeah, I don't know if you can really get... Oh, you can. So that's the shoe, and it's sitting right on the rail. You can actually see it in there, on the power rail. That's cool. I don't mind when there's a good reason for stuff. I suppose I shouldn't step over these things, because in reality you wouldn't. Because you'd get fried. Alright, let's see what we did. No, we didn't speed very much. Little spot there, little spot there. That was that dropping down to 25 fairly unexpectedly, which is not advertised anywhere, just happens. And in the yard where I was going a bit quick, which is kind of normal. Well, this is interesting, because we've reached the end of the stream and I've just had a couple of new people join. That's okay. Oh, and YouTube's telling me that my stream rate is higher than it needs to be. It says I should use 4500 instead of what I am using, but trouble is when I use 4500, it often goes red on me in OBS, so maybe I'll try that for this evening stream. So in approximately 12 hours time, hopefully I'm still live, yes. In approximately 12 hours time, actually it's 12 hours? No, because it's 10 o'clock. I'm going live at 8 p.m. Ooh, is my stream still working? Ooh, it's gone all black. I hope you can still hear me. But anyway, at 8 p.m. Australian time this evening, so it's almost 10 o'clock now. And so 8 o'clock, another 2 hours. So 10 hours time from now, I'll be streaming on one of the German routes. I'm going to take out the ICE 3 on HMA, and I'm going to have a crack at turning on all of the safety systems, which is PZB, LZB, and AFB, and CIFA. So CIFA is just like the alerter that we just had in this train. It just bleeps at you every now and again, and if you don't acknowledge it, it stops the train. AFB is the automatic speed control. It's a little bit like cruise control in your car. So a modern car with adaptive cruise control is probably the closest. And then we've got the combination of LZB and PZB. LZB, AFB, you set the speed and the train will drive itself to match that speed. LZB, the signal network sets the speed using AFB and it drives the train to meet the speeds. So those ones. And PZB is all about interpreting the signals and acknowledging them. So when you have to slow down or it's telling you you're going to diverge or anything like that, you have to acknowledge it, because if you don't acknowledge it, guess what? It stops the train. Now, that's my son having a good sneeze upstairs then. I have barely managed to get a couple of runs in with PZB, so this is going to be interesting. It's a bit of a nuffy moment. And I'm doing an evening stream as an experiment just to see what kind of different audience I get to the morning stream and the evening stream. So I have cleared it with the household manager, she who must be obeyed, that it'll be okay to do a stream this evening. She hasn't said she'll be quiet, but she probably doesn't really have to either. It doesn't matter that much. It's not a great critical thing. But anyway, if you are unlike Michael, who will be tucked up in bed sleeping, if you'd like to join in this evening, love to have you. And next week, if you don't come along to that one, I will be driving Microsoft Train Simulator, the original, the thing that started it all. And when people say that the games haven't changed that much, man, have they changed. So you look at the graphics that we just got used to there, and is it photorealistic? No, but it's pretty good. You know you're playing a game. It doesn't look like a video, but it's pretty bloody good. And then you look at the Microsoft Train Simulator stuff, and I think when you compare the two, and I wish I could run them side by side. Oh, can I? Maybe I can. There's an interesting thing. I wonder if I can run the same route on TS 2021, which is grounded in the same stuff as Microsoft Train Simulator, because it's still got the same Kuyu stuff underneath, hasn't it? The Kuju engine. Interesting. I might give that a crack. I wonder if I can drive two at once. Thinking. Anyway, love to see you this evening if you're around at 8 p.m. Melbourne time. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time. GMT plus 10, I think it is. Something like that. And then next week for Microsoft Train Simulator. The week after that, I've had a request from a subscriber named Sean to drive the British Rail 101 with the Raildriver. And I've done that before, but I have to say I like that thing, so I'm happy to comply. So the week after will be the British Rail 101. I don't know which route I'll run it on yet. We'll figure that out. Maybe I'll run it in off the rails and run it in America or something, just to be different. Hey, I wonder if it'd work on a Rosa. That could be funny. I bet you it couldn't get up the hill. We'll ignore the fact it's the wrong gauge. But anyway, have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the rest of your time. I'm probably going to go and do some gardening, fix my heating, and do some other exciting stuff. But anyway, lovely day for it. Thank you very much for coming along to the stream today. I really appreciate you coming in. If you are new to the stream, it'd be great if you subscribed and click the little notification button so you get notified about upcoming streams. All right. Enjoy, folks. Have a good one. Bye now.